Floor is yours, sir.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. Let me begin by saying how much respect I have for you and for the way you led this subcommittee. Homeland Security is never an easy bill, and it never should be. It deals with real risks, real people, real consequences. And I appreciate the seriousness you brought to this work, and I appreciate the bipartisan spirit that has allowed this subcommittee to function even at times, very difficult moments like now. We're meeting today at a very important time. In just a few days, if Congress doesn't act, the Department of Homeland could face a shutdown. And while the American people may hear the word shutdown and think of Washington politics, what that really means is delayed disaster response, weakened cyber defenses, and uncertainty for the men and women who show up every day to keep this country safe. This is not theoretical. Every member here represents transportation security officers, and we support, they work long shifts to keep our airport secure. Every member relies on FEMA when disaster strikes their state or their district. Every member depends on CISA as cyber threats target hospitals, pipelines, schools, and local governments. Every member recognizes the critical role Secret Service plays, and will be playing this year with security around the World Cup and the American 250 celebrations. Every member counts on the Coast Guard, men and women who carry out 11 statutory missions, often under extreme conditions, often with limited resources, and always with professionalism. So let me be clear from the very beginning. The public servants of the Department of Homeland Security have the full respect and support of Congress, Republicans and Democrats. They deserve stability, clarity, and leadership from us. That bipartisan commitment has already shown itself. This subcommittee, working together, rejected proposed cuts to FEMA and CISA. We supported the increased funding for FEMA and the Coast Guard, and those shared priorities are the reasons why I supported the fiscal year 2026 DHS appropriation bill. We agree on more than we disagree. We agree that border security matters. We agree that enforcement matters. We agree that accountability matters to the taxpayers and to the Constitution. And we should say plainly that strong borders and the respect for human life are not competing values. They're American values, and we are capable of honoring both at the same time. Strong borders and the respect for human life. And that's why the events that we witnessed last month in Minnesota, the tragic loss of 2 American citizens, should concern every member of this subcommittee, regardless of party. When enforcement actions lead to outcomes like that, we have an obligation to ask the hard questions and to make sure our laws and policies are working as intended. There's reasonable bipartisan ideas worth discussing, prioritizing enforcement resources on individuals with serious criminal records, ensuring that the proper warrants for searches of private property are enforced, providing clear guidelines to officers so they can do their jobs effectively and communities can have the confidence in the process. Mr. Chairman, as you know, I sent you some of the proposals in legislative language that I think are very rational and are basically not creating new laws, but are enforcing the policies and the laws that are there. For example, the use of force that Homeland has had. I think it was dated February 2023, just enforcing what's in there already, policies and laws, training that are there already. And I believe my colleagues on both sides of the aisle understand that the status quo cannot be carried on. We may differ on the scope or the pace of reform, but we all share a responsibility for making the system work. That's why I'd hope that the conversation today may also include ICE and CBP leadership. I understand there was a meeting yesterday, but I think Homeland could address this issue if we wanted to. The appropriations, The reality is that nearly 90% of the department will continue operating even if Congress fails to complete its work by the end of the week. If we are serious about avoiding a shutdown and about fixing what needs to be fixing, those voices need to be part of this discussion. So, Mr. Chairman, here's my ask, and it's a sincere one. Let's use the days ahead to convene a bipartisan, good faith effort to resolve the remaining issues at the heart of this funding fight and keep DHS fully operational and give the American people the security and the stability that they expect. If you recall, Chairman, we all came up with a bill that was agreed on by the Senate, by the House, by the Democrats, by the Republicans, until the second shooting came in. I understand dynamics changed, but we were almost there. We were there, Democrats and Republicans and everybody, but the second shooting brought different dynamics, and I think we can get there to address that. So shutting down the Department of Homeland doesn't make our borders stronger. It does not make our community safer. It does not honor the public servants who depend on us to do our jobs. So I look forward to hearing from today's witnesses, and I look forward just as much to working with the colleagues on both sides of the aisle to finish this bill and move this country forward. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thanks to the gentleman from Texas. I now recognize the gentleman from Oklahoma, the ranking member of the full committee, Chairman Cole, and